Welcome to Go Tell Mom. I'm Dianna Kelly. My co-host is Sheri Waltz, and we're moms and educators who enjoy guiding young lives, not just those of our own kids and our own fur babies. We're not psychologists or doctors, but we do know how to dig up advice from those who are, and that's what we'll share with you. If you have something to share with us, remarks, questions, tales of your own adventures in parenting, please leave us a comment on our website or our Facebook page. I wanted to talk about procrastination in this podcast, but I kept putting it off. My dad used to say I was a procrastinating champion. When I was a kid, my mother was always nagging me to finish things. My homework, the dishes, organizing my closet. I just couldn't seem to get it done in her time frame. I'd like to say I eventually outgrew my procrastination. But even as an adult, I'd crave deadlines and then creep up to them on little cat feet at the last gasp. I swear that's one of the reasons I went into radio, to make sure I had a finish line throughout the day that I had to reach at a certain time. I'd like to say I trained my kids to do better than their mom, but not really. In my daughter's case, it's usually she wants to make sure her tasks are absolutely perfectly done. HealthyChildren.org says perfectionist kids set unrealistically high standards for themselves, and then they worry about failing. Hence the reluctance to finish the job. Dr. Kenneth Ginsburg suggests focusing on the process rather than the outcome. Do you like having your clothes that are in the same color hanging together? Or would you rather see all the pants in a group? Or all the summer clothes in one section? The process can actually be fun. I always kind of felt like it was therapeutic. Of course, there are times when you have a not fun task, like a science project. My daughter would find the easiest project to do because it's not her jam. But my son would get jazzed, come up with this really creative idea, start working on it, and stall out. In his case, he'd finally recognize the enormity of what he'd chosen to accomplish and feel overwhelmed. Like the time he decided to make a camel for class in the second grade to explain how they saved water. We're talking a papier-mâché camel about the size of a Great Dane. The night before it was due, I was helping him soak and wrap strips of newspaper around the frame that he'd constructed, and then use a hairdryer to make it dry enough to paint. Fortunately, he had a wagon to prop it up in so he could move it when he had to go up the street to school. Kids frequently procrastinate on projects when they feel overwhelmed or they're not clear on the instructions. Anna Levy-Warren says in Organizational Tutors, it's all about breaking assignments into manageable pieces. Set up a schedule for the project. Figure out what needs to be done. Like my son designing his camel, building its frame, then tearing paper into strips, dipping them in Mod Podge, then wrapping the frame, then drying the wrapped creature, and then painting it the color of a camel. And when it's done, take a picture of the masterpiece and let him know you're proud that he accomplished the task. So why do parents procrastinate? Because you know we do. Gee, what a mystery. I'd tell myself I'd bring the clothes up from the laundry to put away before I got to an editing project, and somehow that turned into reorganizing a drawer, checking email, and Googling something I had absolutely no need to know. Why do we do this to ourselves? Chastity Bowe from ChattanoogaMoms.com says procrastination isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a gentle reminder that sometimes we need a little time to breathe, to think, to gather our thoughts. When we leave something on the to-do list for a little longer than we'd like, we're giving ourselves space to think about whether it's something we really need to be doing today. Does it need to be done today? Sometimes it can wait until tomorrow, or better yet, it's not as urgent as we thought, unless of course it's getting your tax forms in. So today, Sheri Waltz and I will chew on the I'll do it later stuff. Okay, Sheri, I will confess I am a huge putting things off type of person. If I don't get it done immediately, something done immediately, and it's on my later list, it winds up being much later. So when I get like email or something like that, I've got things coming in instantly. I'm instantly answering the email or it doesn't get done because it just gets lost somewhere in the sauce along the way. How are you when it comes to things like that?
I like to do little things quickly. So I like a list, and I like to have lots of check marks on my list.
Yes.
So if they're simple things, then I love to get them out of the way.
Yeah.
I definitely like to do the little things. But big projects, things like that, I tend to break up into smaller things. So
that's smart.
I can have lots of little check marks because I like that.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't there like the Swiss cheese method that they taught us like years ago where you're supposed to break things down into manageable or you eat an elephant one bite at a time, I guess is the new thing. Not that I have any desire to chew on elephant, but, but I get that. I understand why people would do that, but it just, if I don't get things out of the way immediately when they land in my inbox, it's like a weight hanging over my head. And I don't like that feeling.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I feel. I feel like if I can't get them accomplished, then it weighs on me. Like just the other day, we had some project came up and they wanted it done by May 1st. And I told the coworker that I was working with, I'm like, no, we're not waiting until May 1st. Like it's a simple project and we're just going to get it done. So I scheduled the meeting. I did the legwork. We met, we submitted it. It's done. It's off my plate. Rather than waiting the 3 weeks for it just to be festering because it was a stupid project that nobody wanted to do anyway.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I want to be done with it.
Yeah. I'm like that too. But like I said, there are times that I'll get something that depends on other parties involved.
Yes.
We were just kind of talking about this off air. But when other parties get involved in it, then I feel like, okay, I'm in holding pattern.
Yes.
And I'm missing things like emails that I should be getting on this project because to me, it's kind of still on hold over here. And they'll say, well, I sent you an email on that. And I'm looking through literally 103 emails before I find it.
Yeah.
And I don't care what they say about, if you check search, you'll find something. Well, not if their name didn't come up in it and you were sent something through the digital superhighway that doesn't make sense to logical souls like us, I
find the search function on my phone does not work that well.
Yeah.
And if I'm on a computer, then I usually can find the email, but most of the time I'm doing email on my phone.
Right.
And so, if it doesn't come up, then I just get frustrated.
Yeah.
And then I want to put it away and not deal with it. But
Or you force everybody to comply with, hey, why are we waiting? What's the point of waiting?
Yes.
Why aren't we doing it now?
Yes, I like to force people to comply. That is my modem. That is my modus operandi, right?
But,
I like that because I just want it organized. I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, I struggle when I work with other people. I really struggle with the time management piece of it. I love working with other people in the sense that I feel like we all bring something to the table.
Yep.
I love multiple perspectives and all that. But what stresses me out is I'm definitely that type A personality. I definitely plan for things. I don't procrastinate on things.
Yep.
And that stresses me out to have to work with people who do like to do that. And so I do. That's the part of working with others that I struggle with. It's not it's not like conflict management or it's the time management piece that I struggle with.
We're both educators. What do you do when you come across a student that's running into something like that where they don't have time management skills and you really would like to?
So I try in my class to do scaffolded exercises. So like when we have like a big speech that's due, they don't just work on that speech and then 3 weeks from now they turn in a speech assignment.
Right.
It's like every either class period or every week there's a portion of it due and then they get points for that and I always tell them the points of the daily activities count for more than the finished product counts at the end in terms of like their outline.
And that way they're not putting things off until the last minute. You are so smart.
But not really. So I would say that there will be I think the students that benefit most from it are the students who probably without that would have been working on it anyway.
Yeah.
And I still find that I still have the students that, that because it's just an activity and then the outline is due 3 weeks from now, they still in their brain think they have till 3 weeks. And I'm always like, just so you know, that end product is worth 10 points. Yeah. All of these activities are worth 75.
Yeah.
So you determine your own grade. It's like...
And put your own worth on whatever your time is.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Whatever you decide is your time. So,
right.
But I definitely find that students struggle with time management. I think we all do. I mean, we all have pressures, but I think students especially are in that unique position where they have multiple classes with multiple deadlines.
And usually multiple jobs as well.
Exactly. I was going to say, and then work, and then you also add on to any family obligations that they might have.
Right.
That it is difficult. Mm-hmm. It's difficult. I know my daughter's going back to school, and she's constantly calling me to complain about something, and I'm like, just do it. Just get the work done.
Get her done.
But she's like, no, I want to play on my Switch today. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my son's kind of like that too. It's like, okay, you sent in the FAFSA. Have you registered for class yet? There's always that. There's always something going on with them. That there are certain personalities that like to put things off to the last minute.
Yes.
Now, I went into an occupation where deadlines were all the time.
Yes.
You have to do that. And I did that because I didn't want to procrastinate, because I knew if I let myself follow that path, nothing would ever get done. I'd be reading books instead of going to work, and that's not good. That's not healthy. It helps my vocabulary, but other than that, there's that. But I think that when you're training kids to value not just your time, but their time.
Yes.
I think maybe part of it is they don't value their time. They don't think their time is important.
No. And I get it, because right now, and again, at their age and all of that, their time is not worth money right now, for the most part, right? Like it's about studying, or it's about, eating or cleaning their bedroom, and they just don't see that perspective. But I think when we look at it and we think, like, I could spend 2 hours doing this, and how much is that worth in terms of something else? I think we just, as an adult, you have more to compare it to.
Yeah.
Whether that's like your actual hourly, salary, or whatever that looks like, or even just how you want to spend your time. But I think that they don't have that perspective yet. And so for them, I remember when I was young, like the days were long and, and you had nothing to do, and you really could put off a lot of stuff.
And sing in the sunshine.
Exactly. So I think it's part of their learning about how to navigate the world is about how to not procrastinate, how to set up whatever checks and balances that they personally need. And I think the hard part for us as parents is to figure out how to help them navigate. Like, I don't want them to implement my systems, because my systems work for me, because my brain is hardwired a very specific way.
Right.
It might not work for them, but I want them to figure out something to do. Like, how are you going to manage the multiple responsibilities that you have?
I mean, that's not irrational for a parent to think that way, but what happens when they don't? When they do that, I'm going to put it off till later, and then there's no time in later. I mean, do you think, my first reaction is, oh my gosh, how can I help them catch up?
I was just going to say yes.
Probably shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, but my immediate response would be, let me fix it.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to fix it? Oh, it's 2:00 in the morning. I'll go drive over and get this. Or I'll, we'll do this. Or I'll contact the teacher and see about,
Right.
And definitely my initial response at times as a parent hasn't been for them to be a learning tool. Right. I wish, thinking back on it, I had done more of, these are the natural consequences of your actions.
Yeah.
But that's not what I did, and now looking back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, here's some money for therapy.
Oh, man. Okay, so maybe, if we were going to have a conversation with our younger selves, we'd tell them when the kids were 4, 5, 6, that let them get the consequences then, because they're not as dire as they will be when they're in high school or when they're in college. And not meeting that deadline is so much more crucial.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, I'd have lots of words with my younger self if I could. But I definitely think that would be a big one. And I certainly hear about it now. And I hear people, they talk about parenting styles and they talk about those natural consequences. And I was like, I really wish I had done that more. Again, I think I like your idea when they're much younger. Yeah. Because then it's not impeding them from getting into the college or getting that grade that could go with them or whatever that looks like. So when they were very young, it would have been smart to be thoughtful. And I think we talked about this last time, was just, when you're in the moment, when you're in the thick of rearing a child, those things are so hard to look beyond. Right. Because you're just dealing with dirty diapers and dinner on the table and having to be somewhere and all of those things. And it really is difficult to think long term on it. You're in survival mode. You're just trying to get through the day. Yeah. And now that I'm outside of that mode, looking back on it, definitely, I think we should all value more like going to parenting classes and reading books on it and doing all those things probably before you get into the parenting mode. Right. Because once you're in there, you just don't have time for it.
It's like my mom had my brother and I within 2 years of each other. But my sister is 5.5 years younger than me. And she is much more grounded than I was. And I think part of that was Mom let her deal with consequences early.
Yes.
You know, that, and she also saw us getting reamed if we were, driving her crazy. So it's like, don't want that. So I'm going to behave myself this way. But with my kids, they're 18 months apart. Yours are too.
Yep.
And you look at that and it's like, yeah, survival mode. You're just getting from point A to point B and you're hoping like heck you can recharge the batteries in between.
Yep.
And that's not always the case. And there are philosophers, for lack of a better word, that will say that you need to take, even if it means that you're putting off something, you need to take kind of an inventory of whether or not what you think is so crucial to get done right now really needs to get done right now or really needs to get done at all.
Yes. Yes.
And
learning how to prioritize things and determine, because I think even at work, we all say yes to things and we just stack them up.
Yep.
And really, if you just did a hard look at all the things that you think need to happen, maybe they don't all really need to happen.
Exactly.
Anymore.
One of the things that I do like is that my organized friends like you will put things on calendars and we click, with each other and say, yes, I can accept this meeting or whatever. The ones that drive me crazy are the ones that don't say that to me.
Yes.
And I have a meeting with them that they sort of told me in passing in the hallway. And I'm like, I forget it between the hallway and my office. I certainly forget it between the hallway and 3 classes, So it's not that I'm trying to put it off. It's just that it didn't lodge in time. So you really do need to have systems in place.
I don't know how people don't live without a calendar. My kids, they don't use, I'm just like, I could not survive. If I did not have one.
You got me using mine, by the way.
I use it for every single thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, even just simple things like I'm headed to the post office after this. It's in my calendar. I just, everything that I do is in there because
That's
then
awesome.
I don't forget it. And then when I look back and I'll be like, oh, did that happen? I'm like, yeah, it's in my calendar. It happened.
I will put things in my calendar afterwards so I'll remember that I did it. Like I'll have somebody pop in for an impromptu advising session.
Oh, okay.
I put that in my calendar.
Yes.
I mean, every single time. So I know when they come back and it's like, well, I talked to you 4 days ago. No, it was 4 weeks ago, but we'll have a chat,
But I don't think either one of my kids use a calendar. I don't know how they must do something, especially in terms of school and how they organize their homework and what they have to do.
Right.
But I honestly don't think either one of them use a calendar. They've never said to me that they are putting something in their calendar or something like that. Right. And I've never thought to ask them, to tell you the truth. I don't really know. I don't know what they do.
Well, I'm hoping that I can get whatever's vestige of I can put it off till later part of me that's still in me out of me so that, the only time I'm putting something off till later is when it's not really crucial for me to do to begin with. That's my cross my fingers, and my toes and everything else and hope that I
do
happens.
follow a couple people on TikTok and they do the whole don't set something down, you set it in its place. I'm not quite there yet, but I definitely have gotten into the habit of like the quick picker-upper thing. Like, I used to when the kids were young, we cleaned our house 1 day a week. It was Friday, so that I could enjoy it over the weekend.
Right.
And then we didn't clean during the week. I didn't care. Like you put stuff on the floor, it's on the floor till Friday. Like I didn't pick it up.
Right.
And now I think, looking back, I think that clutter stresses me out. And I think I would have been better if I had done like this whole, spend 15 minutes every night before you go to bed. I do it the opposite. I do it every morning. Like my dishes are left in the sink after dinner. I don't put them in the dishwasher until the morning.
I'm the reverse.
But when I get up in the morning while I'm cooking breakfast, I do all the dishes, everything's clean because I like a clean house when I come home.
I do too.
So when I walk in the door, I want it to be clean. Drives my husband crazy because every time we go on a vacation, I'm like, you got to vacuum. He's like, why are we vacuuming? We're leaving the house. house. I'm like, I don't care. We vacuum before you leave the house. The beds get made with clean sheets. But of course, when you come home, it's so nice.
Yeah.
But
it's almost like you're still on vacation.
Exactly. You're like, you're still on vacation. But I am learning, this old dog can learn new tricks.
We all can.
And so, I'm picking up new styles of ways that I could have done things differently. Or maybe it wouldn't have worked for me then. I'm different. I'm older. My kids aren't at home anymore. So I think things just change. But I'm starting to definitely just pay attention to different strategies. And I follow this one woman. I don't know her name. I can't think of who she is. But she always she does the tasks that she put off. And then she she times how long it takes to do it. So she put off fixing a doorknob. Then she will do it and she'll time it. And she'll be like, well, that only took me 5 minutes. And it's been on my to-do list for the last 3 years.
Exactly.
She's like, oh, I could have just done it.
Yeah. And be enjoying a doorknob that works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, and I always think it's the funniest thing because all the things that she does, literally, they don't take that long.
No.
And I'm just like,
I have like 3 canisters of wipes, one underneath my kitchen counter, one in my downstairs bathroom, and one in my upstairs bathroom. And I'll just wipe stuff because I hate doing gotta get down on my hands. And first of all, my knees don't handle it like they used to. But, getting down on my hands and knees, I'd rather not. If I can, and you're going to think this is odd, but I will literally not quite attach one of those Lysol things to my foot, but I kind of will do that in the morning just so that there's that much less dirt to clean up when I do my scrubbing.
Yes.
And same thing with my counters. And so when I leave the house, my counters are wiped down. They may not be immaculate, but they're wiped down. All of my dishes are either in the sink or they're put away in the cupboards, depending on how many I use.
Right.
Or I should say they're in the dishwasher. I don't want to see them in the sink when I get home,
That's me. Because I leave in the morning, but when after dinner, I don't do dishes after dinner. They all just sit on the counter or the sink. I don't care. We have a big sink now. We just replaced. We had the 2 side-by-side sinks, and we replaced it to one big sink.
Yep.
I actually do like it because I'm like, I'll just stick everything in the sink and it all fits.
Yeah.
But I don't do dishes. Even when the kids were at home after dinner, I never did dishes. They would just, put the food away.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do the dishes.
Oh, everything went straight in the dishwasher when
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, if it's just me and I'm I make my scrambled egg thing in the morning, those dishes are clean and put away before I go to work.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And same thing with, whatever I'm eating the night before, leftovers go back in the fridge and the dish goes in the dishwasher. That's all there is to it, So I won't hand do those, but I will hand do my breakfast because I've still got a little bit of energy, first thing in the morning energy. Whereas at the end of the day, not so much. And so into the dishwasher it goes. So.
Yeah. That's me. I don't have any energy at night. I'm a morning person, so I have learned to tackle my things in the morning.
Your big things.
Yes. Yeah. Get them done.
Because that's when you have energy.
Yeah.
Now when you come home and you can enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's even just with little projects now. I try really hard to think, okay, do I need to do this? And how long is it going to take me to do? And can I just get it done? Can I just respond to that email? Can I just delete it out of my inbox? Rather than leaving it all in there and then coming back to it a couple days.
And part of it is not that you want to do a mediocre job, because you don't. I know you. But because it's not as important as the half a dozen other things that are right behind this. If you can just check that off the to-do list, first of all, psychologically, it's supposed to be good for you to be able to check things off a list. Yeah. Secondly, that means that you have no excuse for not doing the big things when they start to stack up.
Yeah.
And hopefully they won't stack up.
Yeah, hopefully not.
I'm Dianna Kelly. She's Sheri Waltz. This is Go Tell Mom. Thanks for joining us with Go Tell Mom, where we chew on stuff you talk about with your own mom. Or maybe not. If there's something you want brought up in this forum, something that you want to add, comment on our website or our Facebook page. And see you next time with Go Tell Mom.